What's going on YouTube? It's Mid-40s Gamer here, coming at you with some Horizon Zero Dawn content. Today we're going to be taking a look at how to grab the best armor set in the game as early as possible in order to help you destroy your new playthrough and forge through this epic story quickly before its long-awaited sequel hits the shelves. This method includes a few clipping plane exploits that are juicier than a pair of TikTok leggings, which allows us to pick up all the power cells necessary to unlock the Shield Weaver armor before heading out on the main storyline. This armor set will make you virtually indestructible and far more dangerous than Jason Bourne. So let's prepare to wade through a ton of deadly machines, tell the Allmother Cybertron did it better, and get after it. Our story begins right after Aloy is blown off the side of a snowy cliff in dramatic fashion and wakes up inside the Allmother Mountain. It is important to note that this is the only early game chance to pick up the necessary power cell, and if you progress too far, you'll have to wait until later on in the game to enter this area again. Once Aloy shakes off her concussion, you'll be tasked with tracking down your focus and your equipment, and once you've picked up these items, you'll continue on a fairly linear path by unlocking two magnetically locked doors just ahead. After passing through the second door, head to the right where you'll discover an open air duct tucked away on the left-hand side, and if you follow this path all the way to the end, you'll find a room where the first power cell is resting. While you follow the game footage, keep in mind that as power cell collection goes, this is the easiest one to track down and it only gets increasingly harder from this point on. With the power cell in hand, we'll head out to the next nearby location. The next power cell can be picked up as soon as you exit the gate after warming your toes at the bonfire, and from here you'll head off to the ruins that you fell into as a young girl and re-explore them all grown up. The main difference is that this time around you'll have the spear to aid you in opening doors and smashing stones that will allow you access to previously unexplored areas. While you can reach the room where the power cell is located regardless of the way you enter the ruins, the easiest method is to drop down onto the ledge you exit from and backtrack to the upper area. Once in the upper area, you'll make a left up a small set of stairs and then continue onto the back wall to make another left. You'll follow this path and head down 2 flights of stairs at the end of the hall and progress forward to a partially open door. Once at the door, you can utilize your spear to pry it open the rest of the way. As a 135-pound Aloy pries open the door with her trusty spear that's more powerful than 2 tons of space-age metal and hydraulics, you can follow the hallway around to the left for about 30 meters and continue on straight to head up 2 flights of stairs. Once at the top of the stairs, you'll make a quick right just past the open door where you can use the spear once more to smash the wall, revealing another room where the power cell can be picked up. After smashing through a stone wall in all our Kool-Aid glory and grabbing our electrified prize, we will warn you that getting your hands on the next power cell might require a ton of patience and persistence, since it does deal with the abuse of some environmental hitboxes and some character animation clipping. Our next target location is the Grave Horde, and as you can see from the map footage, it is quite a long way off. So to cut the time, you may want to grab a mount in order to cover more ground faster than a gender reveal forest fire. Your long ride will also include dodging some rather dangerous machines all the way to the north where the Grave Horde is located, and the entrance to this area is blocked off by a wall of ice, which will only fully open when you reach a certain point far into the storyline. That being said, there is a way around this ice blockade, but it's far more annoying than having to drink regular milk because some people are against public breastfeeding on the beach. It may take quite a few attempts to get it right, but you can enter this area by walking back and forth over one of the larger holes in the ice in this area. When Aloy enters a specific stop animation, she will clip through the hole in the floor and end up within the Grave Horde, which will be completely void of enemies. It will likely take you a bit of time to get this technique right, so before you get annoyed, pause the game, throw your controller and ask Alexa whether it's been patched. We can assure you it hasn't been, since we just did it yesterday. That being said, it's going to take quite a few failures before you're met with success. As you follow the game footage and we slide into a veritable maze of rooms to search for the next slide point to descend even further into the bowels of the Grave Horde, keep in mind you will need to ensure you have the ability to fast travel out of the area once inside. This area is the video game version of a roach motel. Once you're in, you won't be able to get out using conventional means. While we get a bit turned around here, it is interesting to note that the ruin is in fact the remains of U.S. Robot Command Headquarters, where the scientist Elizabeth Sobek briefed the Joint Chiefs of Staff on Project Zero Dawn, which was a plan to build a global automated terraforming system to restore life on Earth after its annihilation by the Pharaoh Plague. As we make our final descent, all that's left to do once our feet hit solid ground is head straight forward into a small room highlighted by the letter B. In this room, the power cell is resting comfortably on the floor, and with the third power cell in hand, we'll open up the map and fast travel out of the area and prepare for a little more hitbox abuse to reach our fourth power cell. The next area we'll be traveling to is located to the southwest of our current position, where the border wall that separates Nora's boundary areas from the Desert of the Sun Steppes bars our way. While this gate is closed until you meet the story progression requirements, we still have the ability to get around it, or more importantly, over it. On the other side of this massive gate is the Eastern Karja Sundom, which includes the Sun Steppes, and this area contains the large portion of the game's arid rocky landscape. Not to mention, it is interesting to note that the sections of this area are modeled after the Arches National Park in Utah. As we run around to our grandiose exploit position, if you're finding any value in this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you don't miss out on any new mid-40s gamer content. And if you aren't too busy wondering why the first person ever convicted of speeding was only going 8 miles per hour, leave us a comment in the comment section and let us know how we're doing. As exploits go, this is actually one of the easiest ones you'll have the pleasure of navigating. Once you've made your way to this cliffside position, all that's left to do is jump around a small invisible barrier to land on the other side. And once we jump around the invisible wall, we'll need to move another long stretch to Gaia Prime, which is one of the longest treks if you can't find a way to get a hold of a mount. It is important to note that right outside Gaia Prime, the enemy opposition is thick, and there is a cutscene where you'll first be introduced to the Stormbird, which is one of the largest flying machines in the game. Not to worry though, once the cutscene ends, you can pop smoke, draw fire, and run all the way up the path to the target location. As you can see from the map footage, Gaia Prime is nestled in a snow-covered area in the mountains to the extreme north of the Karja Sundom. Once at Gaia Prime, you'll need to perform some stupid human tricks since there is no ladder in place when you reach this area prior to the main story quest completion. As getting into areas before your time is concerned, this one isn't a heavy lift and doesn't require a ton of extraordinary skill to complete. This exploit may take you a few times, but all that's required is to stand on the outlying ledge, crouch down, look up, and jump to the right of the sharp-edged rock. Once Aloy's feet catch hold, continue to jump and you'll make it to the top. From here, all that's left to do is some legwork to reach the next power cell. It is interesting to note that when entering this area prior to the required quest lines being completed, all the doors that are normally closed are actually open, making this far less dangerous than undergoing open heart surgery from a person with a PhD in finance. As you can see from the game footage, from the entrance we'll make our way straight into the complex that is void of enemies and follow the icy hallway around to the left until we hit the first elevator shaft on the right. Once in the elevator shaft, we'll make our way down to the bottom, exit the shaft, and follow the hallway all the way down until we reach a door on the right that leads out to the expansive main chamber. Once in the main chamber, all that's left to do is skillfully jump off to the left where there is a reachable ledge below. Just ensure that you plan this one out, being careful not to plummet to your death. Once safely on the ledge, the power cell can be located on a series of shelves in a small room tucked away in the back. With the power cell in hand, we can head out in search of the fifth and final power cell required to unlock the armor set, and it is important to note that while you can leave this area by conventional means, to speed up this process, fast traveling is really the way to go. The final power cell is located within Maker's End, which, as you can see from the map footage, is an ancient ruin located within the mountains far to the northwest of the Karja capital of Meridian. This ruined structure is all that remains of the main headquarters of the Faro Automated Solutions robotic company, which was responsible for the Faro Plague, and our goal is to reach the top of the tower where the power cell is waiting to be recovered. From the bonfire, it's a straight shot into Maker's End, where you'll have to take advantage of yet another clipping plane exploit in order to enter the main tower prior to the storyline's completion. As you follow the game footage, it is important to note that you'll need a mount for this exploit, since it does hinge on the fact that the game code will not recognize the mount when in areas that it doesn't belong. If you don't have a mount, not to worry, there is a pack of chargers right near the campfire we started you from, and there is a lone charger that strays a little bit further from the pack, which makes for easy picking. Once across this dilapidated bridge, we'll jump down and head over to a pile of rubble in the corner that you can vault your mount onto and eventually over. Once in this area, we'll bring our mount around to the right and head forward to drop down into a small ravine, and once down in the ravine, we'll make a left and follow it to the end where the northeast section of the main tower is blocked off by some large overgrown tree roots. As mentioned earlier, while utilizing the mount, we'll be able to ignore the clipping plane of the roots, allowing us access since the game doesn't recognize it in this area. From here, we'll head straight in through the root barrier, which puts us in perfect position to start our ascent to the very peak of the tower. At this point, we'll dismount and head over to the glowing panel, harness our inner Abor, and prepare for a long Assassin's Creed-style climb to glory. As you follow the game footage, it is interesting to note that the ruins dubbed Maker's End consists of several buildings, the most notable being the one that we're currently ascending, which is the large skyscraper that we saw from the distance riding in. This once commanding structure housed the Farrell Corporation's main offices, including the office of the company's founder and owner, Ted Farrow. Once at the top of the elevator shaft, we'll cut through some rubble and make our way out onto a ledge where we'll discover some more climbing points on the outside of the building. These external climbing points will allow us to ascend past a few collapsed internal floors, and eventually we'll come to a point where we can re-enter the structure about 50 meters up. After completing the final part of this climb, which is far more annoying than realizing that there's no toilet paper left in a public restroom, we'll head back into the building, take a slight jump down, and run around the corner where the final elevator shaft is located. As we head into the elevator shaft, it's interesting to note that the Chariot line of military-style robots included the Scarab model, which was the same model that stormed the gates prior to us exiting Mother's Rest. These highly advanced automated war machines that were personally created by Ted Farrow far exceeded any other military technology ever developed and were highly sought after on the global military market. These models were the catalyst for the Farrow Plague when a group of them went rogue and initiated the eradication of all life on Earth. The deployment method of these war machines that was dreamt up in this very building followed an ingenious idea to deploy these models in swarms, with each swarm taking command from a master unit, similar to certain forms of insects. Their self-replicating AI technology allowed them to understand their own structure and repair themselves as well as build others from memory. They were also outfitted with a specific fuel replenishment system which allowed them to convert organic matter into fuel when traditional fuel sources became unavailable. As we climb up into the main offices, all that's left to do from here is head to the right and make one last climb to the very peak of the tower. As we head up to the peak of the tower, keep in mind, while you can exit this area using conventional means, you may want to ensure that you have all the materials to construct additional fast travel packs, since the trek from this location to where you need to head in order to unlock the armor is at the polar opposite end of the map. With the light at the end of the tunnel in sight, we'll hop onto the very peak of the tower, grab the power cell, and take in the sights for just a second before we head off to claim our prize. Our final stop will be the ancient armory, where we'll use the power cells to unlock the Shield Weaver armor, and as you can see from the map footage, it's located just to the northwest of the Nora hunting grounds. If you're having difficulty finding it, keep an eye out for a collapsed radio tower, and you'll come across a large hole in the landscape just at the base of the wreckage. From here, it's time to test our expert spelunking skills by jumping down into this large hole in the earth, splashing down into an underground river, and swimming the rest of the way to the armory. Keep in mind that while we're taking the direct route to this armor set to save time, there is a metal flower collectible you can pick up on the left-hand side as you swim in. Once we reach the inner workings of the bunker, there is a puzzle to solve. Not to worry though, if you aren't into puzzles, we'll find all the corner pieces and assemble it right before your very eyes. As we enter this dimly lit area, we'll make our way over to the right where we can insert the first two power cells in order to power up the circuits to complete the combination and unlock the outer lab door. If you feel like solving it the old-fashioned way, you can fire up your focus, which will lead you to a panel on the right that will give you a vague clue as to the combination. The numbers on the panel will display the hours of the day, and in order to unlock the first puzzle, you'll need to ensure that from left to right the dials display all the main hours of the day starting from the 12 o'clock position. With the correct combination input, the outer lab door will open, allowing us to make our way through to the final puzzle that will unlock the clamps holding the armor in place. If you follow the front wall around to the left, it will lead you to a back room where you can insert the final three power cells to complete the circuit and begin dialing in the next combination. Keep in mind that if you want to solve this the old-fashioned way, you can fire up your focus and inspect the panel for your clue. The clue will point you to angles of rotation, with 90 degrees being right, 180 degrees being down, and so on. If you aren't into math and just want to get this done, we'll spare you the trigonometry lesson and just give you the combo. The combination for this lock is fairly simple, and as you follow the game footage, you can see the final pattern should have the first cell to the right, the second cell to the left, the third cell facing up, the fourth cell facing right, and the final cell facing left. With some satisfying mechanical noises in the background, the Shield Weaver armor is unlocked, granting us some endgame armor at level 7. Well folks, it looks like we're coming to the end of this Horizon Zero Dawn video as we rip the Shield Weaver armor off its ancient clamps and prepare to head out to power level ourselves up to level 50 and smash the rest of the storyline. We would like to take this time to personally thank you for watching, and if you haven't done so already, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you don't miss out on any new mid-40s gamer content. And if you aren't too busy wondering why a volleyball player will jump approximately 300 times in a typical match, leave us a comment in the comments section and let us know how we're doing. So until next time, just remember, there are more LEGO minifigures than there are people on Earth. Surgeons who play video games at least 3 hours a week perform 27% faster and make 37% fewer mistakes. And as always, good hunting.